Simpson. And Japan have gone absent without leave. This is Whitmore. Hall and Gale both available. It's still Whitmore. It is the Reggae Boys who take the lead.
Ball Chat.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Ball Chat Podcast. Here it's our weekly Sunday show, our pilot show, or whatever you want to call it, our flagship show every Sunday right here at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is where we come on and talk about world football. We covered all things world football news, and also you see the picture behind me. This is the world famous Reggae Boys, the real Reggae Boys. That's when we talk about Reggae Boys. This picture behind me, this is what I consider Reggae Boys. We'll discuss that later. Also, you don't know, Arsenal fans, step to the forward, please. Arsenal fans, let me fix my glasses because I'm gonna forward some fire today. Arsenal fans, please step to the forward of the class. That's where we're going to kick off the show today. Remember, hit the like, hit the subscribe button if it's your first time logging on. I am your host, Junior, one of the three hosts on the show. The other two hosts are away on assignment. As everybody should know by now, Camon is a professional referee. So this is her time of year when she's working. So sometimes she come on, sometimes she's not available. Come on. While Benton is also away for personal matters. So you have me this week. We had a good show on Wednesday with a halftime show. I created a shot that was posted to TikTok. I think it has 21,000 views right now on TikTok. We're going to talk about that in the Yard Ballers segment. But again, let me say it again. Arsenal fans, please come to the forward of the class. That's our first topic today. As Man City lifted the first trophy of the domestic season after a resounding 2-0 victory over, how would I describe them? A hapless Arsenal, over a toothless Arsenal, over a scared Arsenal, over a pragmatic Arsenal, whatever we want to call it. But Man City defeated Arsenal today by 2-0 in probably one of the most highly anticipated games in the Cordoba Cup final in a very, very, very long time. In my opinion, this is a game that a lot of people were looking forward to. From big up BM saying, big up Junior also, greetings to Camon and Benton. Travel safely out the road. Well, let me fix up the chat here. Got the chat. Let me sort out the chat here for a second. Yeah, so BM is wishing Benton and Camon safe treading out the road, because trust me, Babylon are going away. We won't discuss political things though on the show. As I don't know why my chair just slide down. Anyway, Man City, Arsenal. Man City defeated Arsenal today 2-0 with 2 goals by the birthday man, Nico O'Reilly. Nico O'Reilly, I think he turned 21 years old yesterday. And big up to my son, because my son's birthday was yesterday as well. So I'm share a birthday with Nico O'Reilly. But Nico O'Reilly, 21 years old, scored 2 goals today for Man City as they defeated Arsenal. I'll say it again. Man City defeated Arsenal in the Cordoba Cup final, leaving Arsenal now chasing a treble instead of the quadruple. Coming into the season, if I was to tell you that Arsenal would have a real shot at winning 4 trophies this year, you would probably laugh at me and say, Arsenal, they are the great, they are the great underachievers. Arsenal, they are the great bridesmaids, or whatever we want to call them. See, BM saying Arsenal is like Reggae Boys. You can't put your money on them. However we want to describe Arsenal, all those adjectives would fit. If we were to say at the start of the season, that was the case. However, as the season has gone on, something looked different for Arsenal. In my opinion, something looked different in Arsenal this year. As the season went on, I started to believe, you know what? Arsenal might be ready to quiet their doubters. I started to believe Arsenal is ready to slay the dragon. BM says, fun fact, Nico has Jamaican heritage. What might have been? As we know, Nico Riley, he's a Manchurian kid. He's a Manchester-born kid, but he does have some Jamaican heritage. Still could be a Jamaican player if Jamaica makes it to the World Cup. We will discuss that. We'll discuss that later. Anyway, so yes, as the season went on, some Arsenal doubters started to worry and say, this might be the year the noisy Arsenal fans might show up with a reason to celebrate. This might be the year Arsenal might roll out and feel good. This might be the year Arsenal or Arteta and company might raise a significant trophy. There's no reason why that conversation should change. There is no reason why we should now think Arsenal is going to not tank, but crash and burn for the rest of the season. There's no reason to think that. However, I think a lot of warning signs went up today. Last week, a week ago on the show, I said, exactly 7 days ago, I said, a week from then, I am going to come on Ball Chat, and we're going to have, it's going to be one or two discussions, two very distinct discussions. We are going to discuss Man City's season officially ending because they would have lost the Cordoba Cup. They are not favorites to win the FA Cup. They've already got kicked out of the Champions League. We arguably would have been talking about, is Pep done? Should Pep leave? What is wrong with Man City? Blah, 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 blah. Or we would have been talking about the opposite. Has Man City thrown down the gauntlet? Has Man City now signaled to Arsenal, you're not going to have smooth sailing to the end of the season? I think the latter is true. Looking at the game today, I think it's a little bit of the latter is true. However, this is my opinion, and tell me if I'm talking foolishness. Arsenal did not lose the game today because Kepa had a gaff. The first goal that Man City scored, Kepa gifted them that goal. Yes, Kepa was caught in two minds on the cross. He didn't know if he wanted to catch the ball, or I don't know if he wanted to punch it over the bar or punch it out. I don't know what the hell Kepa wanted to do. But Chelsea Kepa showed up today for Arsenal at the worst time for the Arsenal season. He parried the ball bounced behind him, and Nico Riley was there to pounce on it and head it in. Good. That's the first goal. Second goal, basically the same thing. Even though Kepa didn't have any interaction with the ball then, same thing. Nico Riley stole in at the back post and scored the second goal. Those are the goals. A lot of Arsenal fans right now are calling for Kepa's head. They are angry at Kepa. Fair enough. Kepa should have done better. He was once the world's most expensive goalkeeper and had a bonehead moment like that. Yes, Kepa is to be blamed partially for Arsenal not lifting the trophy. Another reason why Arsenal lost is their approach to the game. Arsenal in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game, they were dominant. They were better than Man City. Man City wanted nothing to do with that game in the first 20 minutes. And then halftime came. Man City were behind on the back foot. The commentators were talking about Erling Haaland is being starved of service. Erling Haaland can't get the ball. They were talking about how good Declan Rice is. They were talking about Saka. We saw Kai Havertz get a chance that he should have scored. Kai Havertz get an opportunity. And big up to Trafford making 3 big saves. Those were good saves. Granted, Kai should have scored. Kai took the first shot. Trafford got down, made the save. The ball went to Saka. Saka took the shot. Trafford saved it again. Saka got the third rebound, tried another shot, and Trafford saved it again. And the rest is history. Arsenal should have taken the lead early. Right? So, big up to Trafford. That was the difference in the game. Both teams played their second string goalkeeper, which is normal in League Cups, especially in England. teams normally play their reserves during those cup competitions. This is where the squad can get more games, right? So you play the reserves, and normally, if you make it all the way to the final, you stick with the team that you have, right? Cool. Stick a pin in that conversation. We'll have more to talk about that in a second. However, the difference in the game was Trafford, when called into action, made his moment, while Kepa, when called into action, wet the bed. So cool. If you want to blame Kepa, I'm all for it. I'm all for putting the blame at Kepa's, I won't say feet, putting it at his gloves. Cool. That's one layer. The second layer, though, I'm telling you right now, Arsenal's approach to the game. Now, I lauded Arsenal's approach to football. I celebrated Arsenal's approach to the game. Last week, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I was saying how Arsenal remind me of a traditional Italian Serie A champion team. They just have a style of play that reminded me of old school Italian Serie A. I don't want to say old school AC Milan. I don't want to say Jose Mourinho's Inter. I do not want to say they remind me of any of the old lady, any of the Juventus, the great Juventus teams. I'm not going to draw that parallel. They just have a playing style that fit that league. That we will suffocate the game. We will stifle you in this game. We are like a boa constrictor. We just want one goal, and we don't care how the game ends as long as we are the victors. That has been Arsenal's MO this season. It came back and bite them in the ass today. Last week before Benton left, one of the things that we spoke about was in one game, all things remain equal. One game, Man City versus Arsenal. One game, Pep Guardiola versus Mikel Arteta. Who are you betting on? It's one game, all things remain equal. All of us agreed it was Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is just a better coach than Mikel Arteta. It's not even worth having that discussion. Mikel Arteta is trying to win something significant while Pep Guardiola is the gold standard in managing. He's the gold standard in coaching. So there's no competition there. And it showed today. I think Arsenal's approach today was one of, we know we are better, but let's not give Man City a chance. That was the approach to the game, in my opinion. While Man City was, I know I have the best coach. Let's go and prove that our coach has better tactics. Tell me if I'm wrong. Put a comment in the comment section. Let me know. Type a comment. Let me know. Am I wrong? That is my opinion. My opinion is Arsenal's approach to the game today was one, they were scared. They tried not to lose instead of trying to win. While Man City was, we're going out there, balls to the wall, we're going to try. No, Man City had to survive the first 10 to 15 minutes, which they did. And once they got themselves into the game, it was over. It was done. You could tell after the first 30 minutes of the game, it was just a matter of time before Man City scored. It was just a matter of time before Man City took the game from Arsenal. However, in my opinion, or in the back of my mind, I knew Arsenal had the better players. I knew Man City had the players that would make some bonehead mistakes that could come back and bite them. So that threat always remained in the game. I knew I could not trust Atke. I could not trust Kusanov against the Arsenal trio. Well, I won't even say the Arsenal trio, because I won't talk about that as well. But I know Arsenal attack versus Man City, I wouldn't bet that Man City would blank Arsenal. I would never bet on that because I cannot trust this version of Manchester City. However, all things remain equal. Pep Guardiola will always have the edge over Arteta. And we know we talk about Kepa. We know we talk about Arsenal's approach. I put the failure of Arsenal today and the upcoming failure from Arsenal for the rest of the season solely at the feet of Mikel Arteta. Too many times Mikel Arteta have had the opportunity to slay this dragon and he wet the bed, scared. And you're scared, your nature shows on the team. Your characteristics, it blares out on the team. It echoes on the team. Now, granted, Eze was injured, but there is no lineup in the world. If you're in a final, there's no lineup in the world that Kai Havertz and Trossard should start over Madueke. None. And this is a final. You played against Man City. You're chasing Man City in terms of aura. Look, Kepa, I know you were there for the whole cup run. I know, but me rate you. You were once the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. You did your thing in the cup, but I am starting my best team. And right now, David Raya is a better goalkeeper than you. I'm starting Raya. Once he started Kepa, to me, Arteta signaled to the team, we have bigger fish to fry. You don't have that opportunity, Arteta. You don't have that luxury. I'm sorry. Pep Guardiola have that luxury. You don't have that luxury. That was just stupidity on Arteta's part. And I'm telling you right now, it opens the door for a title run for Man City. Now, I cannot trust this Man City team in the EPL. I cannot trust this Man City team to even put a dent in Arsenal's championship aspirations. However, can I trust Arteta to get the job done? Even at this final hour, where Arsenal basically have a hand and a half on the trophy. If it's 2 feet to get it in the door to win the trophy, Arsenal has 9 toes in the door and just needs to get them pinky toe in. Do I trust Arteta to get the job done? I don't. I don't trust Arteta. I cannot trust Arteta. And this game today shows it all. Nico O'Reilly, 21 years old. He's a midfielder. And Pep started him at left back. Who plays right wing for Arsenal? Bukayo Saka. But your left wing back is who scored 2 goals against you. Their left wing back. And your star boy, Bukayo Saka, can't keep Nico O'Reilly at bay? Nah. Nope. I'm done with Arsenal. BM says Arsenal will win the league. I think if you ask Arsenal fans to choose, they will tell you they would rather win the EPL after 22 years. That is the problem, BM. That is the problem. And I think that is the if not ignorance, I'm not going to say the Arsenal fans are ignorant, but that is the dreamland that Arsenal fans are living in. Manchester United is so far away from winning anything, but I'm a Manchester United fan. I cannot envision a world where somebody comes to me and say, if you could choose which trophy to win, which one would you rather win? I would say, why do I have a choice? Why do I have a choice? Why can't I win them all? And that should be the mindset for Arsenal. That should be the mindset for the Arsenal players. Why can't I win them all? Why do I have to pick one over the next? What is it about this Arsenal squad that says we have to pick one trophy, or we have to prioritize one trophy over next? What is it about this Arsenal this Arsenal squad that makes you think that? No, Arsenal fans, you guys should say any games we're in, we're supposed to win. Any domestic game Arsenal is playing, they are supposed to win. They are the best team in England, hands down. There's no question about that. They're the best team in England. Why are we talking about them picking a trophy to win? you realize Pep haven't given up on you realize Pep haven't given up on Premier League even though it's far gone, right? And Pep win Cordoba Cup, and look how Pep reacted to them. He acted like this is his first trophy ever. That's somebody that wants to win everything. Come on, Arsenal. Come on. Tired of Arsenal, man. Tired. Speaking of tired, Tottenham. So Igor, you know what? Before we talk about Igor Tudor and Tottenham, let's go through the scores for today's EPL game. So this weekend's EPL games: Brentford drew with Wolverhampton 2-2. Man U drew with Bournemouth 2-2. I think the Brentford game was Monday from last week, but the code pulls out the week. So Friday's game was Man U drew with Bournemouth 2-2. Man City and Crystal Palace were postponed for obvious reasons. Brighton and Hove Albion defeated Liverpool 2-1. So we'll talk about that. Fulham defeated Burnley 3-1. Everton beat Chelsea 3-0. I don't think we're going to see Cupboard for the rest of the season. And all the blue people, they are living the blues. Leeds drew with Brentford 0-0. Sunderland defeated Newcastle 2-1 in a very eye-opening score. Aston Villa returned to winning ways, defeating West Ham 2-0. And probably the most shocking result of the weekend, Tottenham lost to Nottingham Forest at home 3-0. A game that we circled 2 weeks ago here on this show. We circled this game. This was a big game for Tottenham. This was a game where you can separate yourself somewhat in the relegation fight. But no! Tottenham say, yo, don't a gully. BM says, can the unthinkable happen? Honestly, I honestly can't imagine the EPL without Tottenham. Speaking of can't imagine the EPL without Tottenham, how would that happen? Here's the standings. Arsenal remain on top on 70 points with a goal difference of 39. Man City are in second on 61 points, but Man City has a game in hand. And before we go to the garbage teams, Arsenal is up by 9 points. Man City has a game in hand. Let's assume Man City game in hand, which is Crystal Palace, they would win that. That means, realistically, when both teams have played the same amount of games, Arsenal is leading by 6 points. Let's assume that. Arsenal travels to the Etihad in 3 weeks, April 18th. Arsenal travels to the Etihad in 3 weeks. I think it's the 18th. April 18th, I think. Or 3-4 weeks, a month. In a couple of weeks, right after the international break and the teams kind of sort themselves out, Arsenal visits the Etihad with a 6-point lead. If Arsenal lose to Man City, which based on today's game, odds on, Man City probably can beat Arsenal at the Etihad, it will be a 3-point lead. Arsenal cannot drop any more points. They cannot lose. Man City will need Arsenal to lose a game, right? For them to tie. But even if they match them on points, look at that goal difference. Man City still has to make up 7 goals. So realistically, for Arsenal to not win the Premier League title, they have to lose a game and draw a game. They have to drop points from 2 games with one of those being a loss. At least one loss and another set of drop points, and Man City then can take over. Or let me word it this way. Man City will have to win out all their games, which would mean that Arsenal would lose that one game. Arsenal will have to lose a second game and have another drop points. So basically, Arsenal will need 3 terrible games for Man City to win. And I think it's 7 games left in the season, 7 or 8 games, 38 games, I think. So 7 games left in the season. So you kind of see what BM is saying when BM says Arsenal will win. We see it. Arsenal is going to win the Premier League. But they can possibly make it more interesting than it really is. I don't know what that is, a lint or something. But Man City can make it interesting. Arsenal and Arteta can make it more interesting than it needs to be. Right? So we'll keep an eye on that. Now let's look at the two races. You have the race for Europe and you have the race for relegation. In the race for Europe, I would say the top 4 places make it to Champions League. I think there's still a possibility that England can have 5 Champions League spots, but let's just say the top 4 makes it to Champions League. We already know that Arsenal and Man City, they'll finish in the top 2. Man U, with all the games this week, Aston Villa came out the winner, right? Aston Villa is the only team for all these teams that are chasing, realistically chasing Champions League spot. Aston Villa is the only team that won. Man U had a draw. There was a controversial call in the end, or there was a controversial call during the game when Ahmad was pulled down, should have gotten a penalty because it was the same, from a Manchester United perspective, was the same thing that Harry Maguire did at the other end and gave up a penalty. Plus, Harry Maguire got a red card. No penalty was given. Man U want to file official claim, yada, 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 Harsted, Colford, we move on. It's not going to change anything. This is not the AFCON. They won't change it and say, yeah, you know what, Manchester United should get a penalty, give them 2 more points. No. So it is what it is right here, right? Aston Villa came out, feeling the best this weekend. They have stopped their slide. They found a win. Now, Aston Villa holding on to the 4th spot, trailing Manchester United by 1 point. Liverpool and Chelsea. What the hell? Soon talk about that. Liverpool is in 5th, trailing Aston Villa by 5 points. Chelsea is in 6th, trailing Aston Villa by 6 points. And Chelsea is holding on to the 6th spot barely because Brentford is creeping up behind them. And also, Everton is also creeping up behind them. So Chelsea, that is chasing top 4, might need to be concerned about holding on to the top 6. So a lot to come there. We'll soon talk about that. Down in the gully, 3 teams. Nottingham Forest. I'm going to leave Leeds out of this right now. Leeds and Forest they're not safe yet. However, a lot will have to happen for Leeds to get relegated. So right now, the relegation battle. We know Burnley gone. We know Wolves gone. Right? Good riddance. Go on back. Go on a relegation. Go fight on the championship. Now we have to choose between one of these 3 teams. Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, West Ham. Nottingham Forest came out this week smelling like roses. They got the big win. They got, in essence, a 6-pointer. They defeated Tottenham, who they are in the race with for relegation, and beat Tottenham at home, beat the brakes off of Tottenham at home 3-0, while West Ham lost to Aston Villa 2-0. Yeah, 2-0. So West Ham now is sitting on 29 points. Tottenham, who had a chance to go up by 4 points over both teams, now fall to 17th spot, 1 point out of the relegation spot on 30 points. Nottingham Forest is now 4 points clear of the relegation spot on 32 points. And the fun fact, and I brought this up the other day, the fun fact, all three teams have something in common in recent history. Have a common membrane or common connection in recent history. All 3 teams have been coached by Nuno Espirito. Nuno is the current coach of West Ham. He was the coach of Nottingham Forest when he left Saudi. When he left Nottingham Forest, he went to Tottenham. Got fired. Got fired from both. And chances are, if West Ham does not stay up, West Ham, he will be fired at West Ham as well. So that's a little fun fact there. So Nuno is a connection between all 3 teams. Plus Wolves. Nuno is a long-time coach for Wolves. When Wolves were, I won't say high-flying, but at their peak, in our recent peak in the Premier League, Nuno was there. So Nuno have something to do with it, with 4 at the bottom 5 teams. What a connection. Anyway, Tottenham, Igor Tudor. Right now, I think I want to know who going to get fired first. Will Igor Tudor survive? I mean, he has to. He will survive to the end of the season, but will Tottenham survive? And that's a question that needs to be answered right now. Who is going to get relegated out of those three teams? Again, we know Wolves gone. We know Brentford. We know Wolves gone. Burnley. We know Wolves gone. We know Burnley gone. Who out of those three teams are going to get relegated? Now I'm telling you this. For me, it's down to preference, because I don't think you can pick playing and say this team is playing better than this team, so this team deserve to survive while this team don't deserve to survive. It's all down to preference. And the teams I hate the most is who I want to see relegated. So which out of these three teams, the team I hate the most out of these three teams is Nottingham Forest because of their owner. I hate that owner. I want that owner out of the Premier League. Get out the Premier League. He's an asshole. We see how he treated his coaches. He's a bastard. Don't like him. Right? Tottenham, between Tottenham and West Ham, I hate Tottenham more. Why? Because the Daniel Levy history, and Tottenham was always a team that was there. They were close. Remember during the Pochettino years, they were always close. They were always right at the cusp of achieving something great in their season, but always fall short. And we can always point to squad. They never invested in their squad. And when we think of Tottenham back then, we always used to think of Daniel Levy, and Daniel Levy is the reason why Tottenham is this and Tottenham is that. We'll blame Daniel Levy, right? But how ironic is it that the year when Daniel Levy leaves is the year when the bottom falls out for Tottenham? Daniel Levy is no longer there. Daniel Levy left this season, or early this season. He was gone. And look at where Tottenham is now. Maybe they should have kept Daniel Levy. So you know what? The bottom fall out, don't save them. Tottenham, go away. So for me, I would prefer West Ham. I would prefer West Ham to stay up just because I like Nuno. Nuno is a nice guy. I didn't like when Nuno left Wolves to go to Saudi. I think that was a terrible decision. It's proven that way. And he hasn't found his feet since. He hasn't been able to find his footing since. But I want West Ham to stay up. BM says, I think West Ham will pull it off. Forest has extra games in Europe. That will make a difference. That's true. And also use that same Euro point for Man City and Arsenal. Arsenal has games in Europe left. Man City doesn't have any games in Europe. So those extra games will affect their squad. So yes. Let's see. Now, if I was to be a realist, I'll tell you right now, my expectation is Tottenham will stay up. That's my expectation. I believe Tottenham will find a way, even though they have a very rough slate of games to close out the season. Let's look at the games first. West Ham, their next game in the FA Cup, they play Leeds. I'm not counting that game. But West Ham will play Wolves. Wolves, we know, is already relegated, but Wolves is playing some good football. So that's a tricky game for West Ham, but they will host Wolves. They travel to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is sitting in purgatory. They're all right. So, meaningless game. They host Everton. Everton, who is chasing a European spot. That's a tough game for West Ham. Then they travel to Brentford. Brentford playing some good football. We know that is. Then West Ham hosts Arsenal. Tough game. Tough. Arsenal, 3 games left in the season at this point. We have no idea what will happen after that game against Man City. We don't know where the title race will be. That will be a very tough game. Newcastle will host West Ham. Another tough game. We have no idea where Newcastle would be. They might be chasing a European spot at the time. Tough game. Then they close out the season hosting Leeds. It's not the worst schedule, but it's a daunting schedule. Let me look at Nottingham Forest fixtures. Nottingham Forest upcoming fixtures. They play Porto, and this is what BM was alluding to. They are going to play Porto over 2 legs, right? So when we come back from international break, they'll be playing Porto in the Europa League in the first leg. Then 3 days later, they host Aston Villa. Aston Villa is chasing a European spot, chasing a Champions League spot. Nottingham Forest will be playing 3 games in 1 week and actually playing 4 games in 10 days. So they play Porto in 2 legs. Sandwich in between those 2 games, they host Aston Villa, and then they host Burnley. Lonely Burnley that is already relegated. That Aston Villa game sandwich in between both Porto games is a killer game. So Nottingham Forest more likely will lose to Porto because they travel to Porto first. More likely to go and lose to Aston Villa because Aston Villa is chasing a Champions League spot. Then the host Porto, let's say they're looking at the game against Burnley. They have to prioritize at that point. They're going to lose to Porto again. So after that is nothing but Premier League games. They host Burnley. Then they travel to Sunderland. Then they travel to Chelsea. Then they host Newcastle. Then they travel to Manchester United. Then they host Bournemouth. Sandwiching all these games, they're playing against 3 teams that are chasing European spots in Chelsea, Newcastle, and Manchester United. That's a tough schedule for Nottingham Forest. A very tough schedule for Nottingham Forest. Let's look at Tottenham's schedule. Tottenham's schedule. Next up, they play against Crystal Palace coming out the international break. Wait. Sorry, that's Newcastle. Sorry. Tottenham. And I take it back. Newcastle not chasing any European spot. Newcastle is in Portugal. Newcastle go. All right, Tottenham. Tottenham's upcoming games. They travel to Sunderland. That's a win. No, that's not a win. That's a tough game. They travel to Sunderland. I apologize to the Sunderland people. I'm thinking of old-time Sunderland. Sunderland is above Tottenham right now. So they travel to Sunderland. They host Brighton. They travel to Wolves. They travel to Aston Villa. They host Leeds. They travel to Chelsea. And then they end the season against Everton. Tottenham arguably has... Tottenham don't have the worst schedule of the 3. I think Nottingham Forest has the worst schedule of the 3. I think West Ham have the most navigatable schedule of the 3 teams. Tottenham's schedule is not that easy, but they don't have the extra games. But with what we saw Nottingham Forest to the Tottenham, yes, do we trust Tottenham in any of these games? No. I don't trust Tottenham. The most winnable game left on Tottenham's schedule is against Wolves. But they travel to Wolves. I don't trust Tottenham in that game. They play Aston Villa at Villa Park with 4 games left in the season, including that game. Aston Villa is chasing a Champions League spot. They're going to get their ass bus. Leeds is teetering. We don't know what Leeds will be at this point, but Tottenham will be hosting Leeds. Leeds might be safe. They're not chasing a European spot. They might be safe then, so that might be a fairly easier game, even though, as we know, each spot in the Premier League worth some money. So that's going to be a tough game. Tottenham travel to Chelsea, London derby. Chelsea going to kill them. And then Tottenham hosts Everton. David Moyes' Everton more likely will be in some form of a European spot and battling to hold on to it or to get a next one. That's not an easy game. So West Ham have the easiest schedule of the 3. I think Tottenham have a fairly difficult schedule. I don't think Tottenham is favourite in any of their games. And I think Nottingham Forest have the grueling schedule. So, Mr. Igor Tudor, good luck. Good luck, Mr. Igor Tudor. BM says, we never asked about ballers and bugs. Because BM a whole heap of topic I forgot you. But yeah, put the ballers and bugs in the chat. BM says his bug of the week is Inter Miami. They got knocked out of the Champions League. Well, I mean, Messi money can only stretch that far. I'm sorry. So Igor Tudor, fix up your house, brother. Fix up your house. Liverpool, Arne Slot. We saw what happened to Liverpool. Liverpool was properly dismantled. I mean, at this point, the question now has to be asked for Liverpool. And Brighton was never an easy game. Brighton is one of those teams that for the last couple of years, regardless of who's coaching them, they are well coached, well prepared, and it's a very tough outfit at home. However, with that being said, with Liverpool with their current standing in the Premier League, with their run in the Champions League that is going on, you would expect Liverpool to show up at Brighton and take care of business. You don't expect Liverpool to show up and fall flat on their face. Brighton and Danny Welbeck rolled back the hands of time, defeated Liverpool 2-1. It wasn't even that close. Liverpool, Arne Slot, I said it last week, I'm going to say it again. If you could give Arne Slot an option, he would rather have this season be last season and last season be this season. He would rather flip his seasons because right now, Arne Slot looks like a fish out of water. He looks out his depth. He looks like he doesn't belong as a Liverpool manager. And at this point, we can clearly now say last year was fool's gold. They won off Klopp's philosophy. They won off Klopp's team. And as soon as Arne Slot tried to put his fingerprints on the team turned a bug side. I don't know how BM to give Arne Slot bug of the week, but Arne Slot, Liverpool, bug of the week. You cannot find consistency. This is unacceptable. And like Tyrone said, how much longer before Arne Slot get fired? Another coach who is on the hot seat who is not there yet. Big up BM. BM says Danny Welbeck surprises him this season. He's playing the best football at 35. Now before we move on to Mr. Rossinier or whatever you pronounce his name. Danny Welbeck, arguably, is age 35, but he probably have a 32 or a 31-year-old body because I'm not saying that tongue in cheek. I'm not trying to be funny, but Danny Welbeck's career unfortunately have been affected by a lot of injuries, and now he seems to figure out how to maintain his body and can last a little bit longer. That's why I said, even though he's 35, I say he has a 32-year-old legs. At least 3 years of playing have been taken off from Danny Welbeck because of his injury, his injury record. But that shouldn't take anything away from him. The man is a goal scorer. Always been a goal scorer from his days at Manchester United. Just could not stay fit. There might be an argument also or question, is Danny Welbeck playing this well because he wants to go to the World Cup? He's not in the setup. No, I don't think. No, Danny Welbeck never get called for the recent squad for England. But if he can close out the season and continue punching in the goals, eventually, Tuchel might have to consider him. After all, them have the old boy from the old Liverpool captain still in the squad. Why couldn't bring Danny Welbeck in? You can't use age as a reason. So Danny Welbeck should be in the England World Cup squad. I think so. I think Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck could be a good show to come off the bench in the 85th minute and you're chasing a goal. I would trust Danny Welbeck. Anyway, Mr. Rossinia. Everton. BM says Danny Welbeck cannot make England's team. Too many people are ahead of him. But that's just name brand no. In terms of production, after Harry Kane, of course. Who is producing which? All right, you know what? Before we talk about Rossinia, let me pull up England squad. Let's see if we can find England squad. Because I don't want to mischaracterize or misrepresent. And that's the thing with doing live shows. Sometimes we have a topic and we'll just go off. All right. So this is England's 35-man squad. Gerard Bowen from West Ham, Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Leeds, Eberechi Eze, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Noni Madueke, Cole Palmer, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, and Dominic Solanke. All right. Let's go in reverse. The players. All right. Let me just go down the names again. And in no order of importance or anything. And why the hell did I just lose the squad? I just had the squad up. What the hell is going on with the squad? See that. All right. So in no specific order. Simple. And BM put in a chat for all those watching right now. And if you feel like taking part in the conversation, type in the chat. I'm gonna ask a name, and you tell me if Danny Welbeck is Danny Welbeck better than this player. Would you pick that, or would you pick Danny Welbeck over this player? Jared Bowen. Would you pick Danny Welbeck over Jared Bowen right now? Yes. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Would I pick Danny Welbeck over Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yes. Would I pick Danny Welbeck over Eberechi Eze? No. Would I pick Danny Welbeck over Phil Foden? No. Only because Phil Foden plays a different position. Phil Foden is more 10. He's not a striker. So we're just going by the strikers. Would I pick Danny Welbeck over Anthony Gordon? No. Harry Kane, I don't even know why we asked that question. Noni Madueke? No. Noni Madueke is a striker. Cole Palmer? No. Cole Palmer is a 10. Marcus Rashford? No. Danny Welbeck is a striker. Marcus Rashford is a winger. Bukayo Saka, same thing. He's a winger. Danny Welbeck is a striker. Dominic Solanke, yes. So there are 3 players in this 35-man squad. I am picking Danny Welbeck over. Me personally. Dominic Solanke, Gerard Bowen, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Going off recent form, going off pedigree, Danny Welbeck is better than those 3 players. In my opinion. Now we could talk about bug coach and bug people now. Rustin here. Oh, let me go see what BM said. BM take part. All right, so BM is agreeing with me. He would pick Danny Welbeck over Bowen, over Calvert-Lewin, not picking him over Phil Foden, not picking him over Anthony Gordon, not picking him over Harry Kane, not picking him over Rashford. And it's also said, don't forget Ivan Toney. Yeah, honestly, Ivan Toney would be a conversation. I think there would be a conversation between Toney and Welbeck, and I think it comes down to preference. Honestly, I have nothing against Ivan Toney, but I think Danny Welbeck, recent form, because of the league that he's playing in, I would pick Danny Welbeck over Ivan Toney. But that's not a knock against Ivan Toney. And you know what? I would pick Danny Welbeck and Ivan Toney and drop out Jared Bowen and Calvert-Lewin. So, yeah, I'll have fine spot for the 2 of them. So it's not either or. Both of them would have been in my squad. Yeah, but anyway, Mr. Rossignol and Chelsea. Now, Enzo Maresca earlier in the season said he wanted more experienced players. BM says Ivan Toney is a bigger baller for Welbeck. Yes, but I think Welbeck, I'm talking about goal scoring now. Fitting a role. So, but you can't go wrong. I think you can't go wrong with either player, personally. Mr. Rossignol and Chelsea. I think he's getting a bad rap. I think Enzo Maresca told the whole world what was wrong with Chelsea. And I think Chelsea fans didn't want to believe him. I think Chelsea owner Todd Bowley didn't want to believe him. But Enzo Maresca did tell them, we need more experienced players. And I can imagine if the coach comes public with that comment, the coach probably made those comments a while back, earlier in the season, even before the season started, maybe at the end of last season. He was asking for more experienced players. A coach don't normally go public with things unless they've done it in private and done it behind closed doors and fall on deaf ears. And he's like, okay, I have no other choice, I'm going public. So chances are, Maresca did not pull that out his ass. Chances are Maresca been asking for more experienced players. And if my hypothesis is true, then there was a disconnect between Enzo Maresca and the Chelsea board, because when he wanted more players, and he said he wanted more experienced players, he got Nacho Cheese, Garnacho from Manchester United, and he got the striker. Those aren't experienced players. Those aren't good enough for Chelsea. And that is what we saw. That is why Chelsea can lose to Everton the way they did. It has nothing to do with X's and O's. It has nothing to do with individual players. We saw indiscipline in the Chelsea squad. Why? Because they don't have any leadership. I like Enzo. I like Enzo. I like Calcedo. I like Reece James. But they're not captains. They are not leaders of men. They are still young in their career, even though some of them might be old. Even though Enzo has won a World Cup, that doesn't make him automatically a leader. And Chelsea is missing that John Terry type. Chelsea is missing that Desailly. For all those who remember when Desailly played at Chelsea for a cup of coffee. Chelsea is missing that player, that coach on the field that is going to grab the players by the scruff of the neck and have them drop them socks. Chelsea is a team that is very talented, and they will roll some players out that can go out there and do a job. But when the rubber meets the road and they have to come together, there's nobody there that can force them to come together. And that is what is going on at Chelsea. The players lack leadership. The players lack direction. And as a black man, and this might sound prejudice, this might sound whatever adjective you want to use, I will always support the black head coach in the English Premier League because we don't have a lot of them. There's not a lot of diversity in the English Premier League. However, as much as I want to support him, this is not the right job for Rossignol. It is not the right job for him. He's a good coach. He's a very good coach. His pedigree is as such. However, he will have to now learn on the job how to lead an inexperienced team. He will have to now learn on the job how to take some players that are very indisciplined and be that enforcer. Something that you normally depend on your captain or you normally depend on your enforcer. You always have an enforcer in the team. One that comes to mind is Gattuso. When Gattuso was playing at AC Milan, he played towards the end of Maldini. So Maldini was the captain. Gattuso was the enforcer. Who was the captain? Was it Pirlo or Dida? Whoever was, I know Gattuso wasn't the captain, but he was the guy that would challenge the players. Who is the player? As much as we talk about Bruno and how Bruno likes to bitch and complain, Bruno challenges his players. As a captain and as a leader, he challenges his players. We see Harry Maguire challenging his players. We see Declan Rice challenging his players at Arsenal. We see Gabriel in his own way challenging the players at Arsenal. We see Virgil challenging the players at Liverpool. Who is challenging the players at Chelsea? Who is that player that the players can go to and get that sense of direction from? That player doesn't exist. So now that onus falls on this poor head coach, Mr. Rossenia, and he's struggling. He is struggling to find some form of leadership in this team, and he has to come up with all kind of foolishness. So the jury's out. Chelsea, we don't even know if they can transfer in players next year because they have all these violations that are coming up. I think they had the self-reported some violations, if memory serves me correctly. So we don't know what their transfer market is going to look like. Is Rossinia the right coach? I don't think so. Now, can he become the right coach? Yes, but he will have to learn very quickly because at this rate, Chelsea will be all right. Chelsea, I expect Chelsea to finish in a European spot. Probably not the Champions League spot, but they will finish in a European spot. But if he doesn't grow that board or that gene in him that can lead the players, the start of next season is going to look like the end of this season. And he won't last. He won't last till January next season. So he has to really learn to be or prove that he can be a leader of men. So good luck, Mr. Rossinia. Good luck. Before we move on to yard ballers, because boy, time fly off, man. But before we move on to yard ballers, AFCON. We chronicled the AFCON tournament and the fallout from the AFCON tournament. We spoke about CAF ruling that they have stripped Senegal of the title and awarded Morocco champions of AFCON months after the tournament ended. Well, I think the general consensus is it's the right decision, the wrong time, right? And it continues to leave a black eye on AFCON. It continues to leave a black eye on Mama Africa. And it shows, and look, our African people, that's just our nature, right? Very combative. We will fight till the end for anything. And that's something that is in all African bones. It is what it is, right? However, I said it last time, I'm going to say it again. If roles were reversed, if Senegal was the host, Morocco was deemed, or Morocco, the calls were reversed, and Morocco is a team that walked off the field but eventually came back and won. Would they now rule that Senegal will win the AFCON? Would they have had the same ruling? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's an unfortunate belief on my part. I don't think the ruling would have changed. I think they would have stood with Morocco winning. And I think it's a color thing. I think there's some prejudice there. I'm calling it like I see it. And there's definite color prejudice there. Don't like it, but bona firefight. And it's the worst time for this to happen because social media had a field day. I know there was a post that went viral that said that the Senegalese coach carried the trophy to the military, and now the military is holding the trophy. That has been debunked. Not Nogoso. It sounds good. It sounds like it's a good story, but that not Nogoso. I also saw something that said that Sadio Mane was stripped of the player of the tournament and they wanted to give to Brahim Diaz. I don't think that is true either. And I think the Moroccan players need to come out and say, I think for the sake of football, for the sake of sportsmanship, the Moroccan players need to come out and say, yo, I don't feel like it was fairly judged. Or come out and say they wish this decision was done earlier. When they walked off the field, they should have abandoned the game then and given us a trophy. Make us kick the penalty with no goalkeeper in the goal. And we score and win it fair and square. But that didn't happen. So leave it alone. The game continued playing. They want the trophy fair and square. Give it to them. We don't want the trophy. If I was a Moroccan player, if I was the Moroccan Federation, I don't want the trophy. I don't want it. You can rule that we win it. I don't want it. I don't want the title. I did not earn the title. That's what I was hoping for. Haven't seen it, and I don't expect to see that. So, like BM says, AFCON, bug of the year, yeah, man. Right now, the bug of the year candidates is a tie. Liverpool and AFCON, bug of the year. Anyway, we'll move on to yard ballers, to some more, to a better story, because the Reggae Girls ruled the weekend. The Reggae Girls ruled the weekend as Kiki Van Zanten, let me start with her, scored 2 goals for her Houston team to currently be they're undefeated. I think that they won 3-0, right? You'll find it. But big up to Kiki Van Zanten. Yes, so they won 3-0 versus the Legacy as they defeated Boston Legacy 3-0 with Kiki Van Zanten, the midfielder, scoring her first career 2-goal game. And she got a assist from Kat Reader, and she was just dominant in the midfield. But the Reggae Girls continue to make waves. Kiki Van Zanten scoring 2 goals, showing that she is. When we had the report earlier, we said, can she do well? Can her sister do well in the league? The answer is a resounding yes. So big up to Kiki Van Zanten. And we would have thought that is the best story of the day, right? But no. Bunny Shaw had the quickest hat-trick, the fastest hat-trick in the Women's Soccer League, as her Man City defeated Tottenham. I think it was 5-2. But Bunny Shaw with 3 goals, the fastest hat-trick. Look, it's over. The conversation is done. I asked a couple weeks ago, is Bunny Shaw the greatest female striker in the world? Right now, the answer is yes, bar none. Bunny Shaw is the best female striker in the world. And Man City have one hand on the trophy and looking to really finally secure the trophy and finally secure the win. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. If Bunny Shaw and Man City wins the title, she is the front runner for the female Ballon d'Or. And can you imagine a Jamaican woman winning the female Ballon d'Or? Big news. I am hoping my prediction comes through. I want Bunny Shaw to win the title, get be heralded as the best striker in the world, which would mean that Jamaica has to qualify in their upcoming games. The Reggae Girls have to do well in their qualification games. But until then, big up Bunny Shaw, fastest hat-trick, 3 goals. They defeated Tottenham 5-2. BM says, I'm sorry, BM says. Big up BM says, Bunny Shaw and Kiki, ballers of the week. Kiki scored a brace. City and United play on Saturday. What a game that will be. Listen, I'm a Manchester United fan, true and true. But I'm Man City may carry. Man City may carry Saturday. But what a game. No, Man City, Bunny Shaw, not a hat trick. Done them. And let's move on to the final story of the day. The Reggae Boys squad was officially named, and for their upcoming World Cup qualifier or World Cup playoff game against New Caledonia. They have a 1 game playoff to qualify to see if they can go to the final game playoff against the DR Congo, the Republic of Congo. So it's simple. Reggae Boys has to win 2 games. I'm not calling them Reggae Boys anymore. Like I started the show. Behind me, those are the Reggae Boys. See them? And some of them cut off over here, so. And the whole squad. That is what we call Reggae Boys. The Jamaica national men's team is trying to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. A qualification that we all thought was sure. We all thought was in the bag. Jamaica now enters in the playoff round. They will be playing against New Caledonia this Friday, 11 p.m. at night. Against New Caledonia, 11 p.m. Eastern, our time. We'll be doing a watch along. Hopefully I don't drop asleep. Hopefully Jamaica don't make me waste my time doing the watch along. But check us out. We're doing a watch along this Friday, 11 p.m. Jamaica versus New Caledonia. And this is a squad. We did a reporting on it. And again, I said it. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. The last one I did on the squad and the omissions got 21,000. We have 21,000 views so far. So keep liking it. Keep liking it. So let's go down the squad. This is the official squad. Goalkeepers are Amal Knight, Jamal Waite, Andre Blake. Defenders are Ronaldo Webster, Amari Bell, Richard King, Damian Lowe, Ethan Pinnock, Joel Lattebodier, Ian Frey, Kyle Ming. The midfielders are Isaac Hayden, Kevon Lambert, Karoy Anderson, Tyrese Hall, Casey Palmer, Andre Brooks, Leon Bailey, Bobby Reed, Dwight Merrick. The forwards are Bailey Kanamatari, Jamal Lowe, Demari Gray, Efron Mason Clark, Ronaldo Cephas, Norman Campbell, Tyrese Campbell. The biggest news out of the squad are coming from the squad from outside the squad is more about around the players that were omitted versus the players that were included. Now, I am going to support this team 100%. I'm going to support the coach 100% till he gives me a reason not to support them. And the only reason that I'm going to get to not support them is if them don't win the game. Right? So I said what I said the last show about the omission of there were 5 players that were reported that will not be in the squad. I don't know how it got leaked, but it got leaked, made its way to the internet before the squad was formally announced. Those players were John Russell, can't remember the next British midfielder, right? I can't remember the next British midfielder. But Whisper Richards, Shamar Nicholson, and my boy, I don't know why I'm now trying to remember the British midfielder that wouldn't be in the squad. That's what's killing me right now. But Kaheem Dixon. So it's John Russell and who is the midfielder I'm missing? Yeah, what the midfielder I'm missing? I'm missing that midfielder that would be missing. But there's a 5th player that was reported. But anyway, John Russell obviously was going to be missing because he got a red card the last game, right? So if memory serves me correctly, John Russell got a red card against Cure. Did he? I think he did get a red card. He did get a red card. So Whisper, Kaheem Dixon, Shamar Nicholson, those are players that were left out. And we have some new players coming in. And it has created a firestorm, like we chronicled earlier. Craig Butler and the current head coach, Rudolph Speed, don't see eye to eye. If you were to put Craig Butler and Rudolph Speed in a room together, they're going to tear the room apart. Eventually, they will start fighting. So we kind of knew this was going to happen. I am not going to criticize the players that are currently picked that were in the squad prior. I'm not going to criticize those players. I could draw arguments why some of those players should be left out, while Dixon, Boza, and whisper earn a spot. I could make arguments for that, but I won't because I'm supporting these players till the end. The players that I am more worried about, though, are the new players, the uncapped players, the players that have never seen Jamaica before. Probably see it on vacation, but I am willing to bet some of them never even land at Jamaica. I don't think it's fair to those players to bring them in right now, going into Friday, because the chances of them playing should be 0 to... If Jamaica starts an uncapped player Friday, any of them new money come out and play Friday, I'm telling you right now, don't make your kids watch along because I'm going to curse some dirty bad word. I'll curse some dirty bad word. If Jamaica takes Friday against New Caledonia in a must-win game, if they pick that day as the day to give some players some international debut, if that player don't name Lionel Messi from 10 years ago or Cristiano Ronaldo from 10 years ago, or if that player don't name Wayne Rooney from years ago or Ronaldinho or the original Ronaldo, there's no reason for a player to get their international debut in a must-win game. Their debut, their first time putting on a Jamaican jersey, they should not see the field. If that player sees the field, Jamaica is in trouble. I would say Jamaica is in a... If you wake me up and tell me, this player, I'm not calling a player's name, because there's some legal things going on with player and bullet and all kind of things going on. I'm not getting in the passa. Because again, I am going to... If you wear the jersey as a Jamaican fan, I am going to support it till the end. Till the end. But if you pick this Friday against New Caledonia to give a player this international debut, your first time playing with these players, I am going to tell you Jamaica must have been in a desperate state. They must be in a state where they have no other options. This is their last opportunity. We'll just try and see if we get lucky. Because there's no way you're going to throw a player into a game and there's no chemistry, no previous game history. Them don't have no games together. There's no camaraderie. So how can you expect that player to come out now and perform at his best? We saw what happened when Ian Frey came in, when McLaren gave Ian Frey the start. Out of nowhere, Ian Frey never played for Jamaica before, to my knowledge. Forward at Jamaica, and his first game in the jersey was a World Cup qualifier. In the midfield, when he's a right back for Inter Miami. And we wonder why he looked like trash. He looked horrible. Now, granted, Bailey Kalimatari had his debut in a World Cup qualifier as well. And I'm going to say it. He did well. Now, you have some people going to say he was wasteful. I think he did score. That was the game against the high school side. So, I think he scored two goals that game in his debut. I think, if memory serves me correct. But I know he had a good game. And he was making the runs. If there is a position in a football team that somebody can come in and play with no recent game experience with the players, it's a striker. If you're playing as a striker and you're the lone striker, all you have to do is make runs, time your runs, just make eye contact, stay onside, and finish your chances, right? So, fair enough. But I still don't like the fact that we are taking this moment to give a player his international debut, possibly in a World Cup qualifier that you have to win. It's a must-win game. You cannot lose. Win or go home. I would rather lean heavily on chemistry. if the talent is close, I am leaning heavily on chemistry. BM says, I don't think it made sense to drop Whisper at this point. Hell no, it didn't make sense to drop Whisper at this point. And it's hard for you to prove to me that there is that preference involved. There is that feelings involved. It's hard. Now, granted, big up to Rudolph Speed and Company. They rolled out a reason. They talked about the metrics that they used, and they talked about the data that they used, which, look, it's valid. They gave a valid reason, right? But that's the thing with statistics. Anybody that ever worked in statistics, you can use statistics to your advantage for an argument. That's the whole glass half empty, glass half full. Depends on your perspective. The numbers are the numbers, but depending on your perspective, you can interpret the numbers one way, and somebody has interpreted the numbers the other way, and it's still the same numbers. And then it becomes a subjective conversation instead of objective, right? So credit to Rudolph Speed and Company. Credit to the GFF for just not coming out and say, I pick the players that I want because I feel like these are the players that will do well. That wasn't the argument that was given. He talked about playing time, he talked about efficiency, and there was a metrics there. So we know that that now isn't all sports. They call it money football, or not statisticians. There's a term for it in baseball. And baseball is where I think it started first. But that is why now, like with American football, I'm talking about how you have a 50% chance of converting, or you have a 10% chance if you do this, or 90% percentage. So there's a lot of numbers involved. And Jamaica Rudolph Speed led with that angle. And look, you can't argue it. He gave a valid excuse. However, football is also played with the eyes, and you have the eyeball test, and what you see is what you know. So I'm going to support this team. I'm going to support this coach. I think all Jamaicans should put their biases aside. What is done, right? And for all those who believe in energy and you give a vibe and you help build a vibe for the squad and something there, if you believe in that, let's see if we can use that to our advantage. Let's see because we still have a chance to make it to the World Cup. And at the end of the day, I want Jamaica to make it to the World Cup. We're going to be doing a watch along this Friday. This is the squad. This is the squad we're going to go with. I have my preferences. You might have your preferences. You might have your likes. You might have your dislikes. It is what it is. Can't change now. We're going to support this team till the end. We're going to do the watch along. I sit down now. Of course, if Jamaica win, I'm letting you know right now, I'm going to act like Rudolph Speed is the biggest genius in the world. I might even say Rudolph Speed should have kept the job. We should have given Rudolph Speed the job from before. I might say that. If we can make it out of these two games. Because that's what being a fan is. But however, how we got here should have been avoided. And I don't like the pass around the team. But I'm going to support them. I'm going to support that squad out. I'm going to support it. BM says Rudolph Speed is a very good BSer. Yeah. And he also said too much negative energy around the team. So I hate that, I hate that. I'm going to support the team this Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. We're doing our watch along. So remember, watch the game. We can tune in with us for join the family. It's a family affair. We're going to be on here. We're going to support the team together. Benton will be back by Friday for the watch along. So we're there. We'll support the team to the end. But I ain't that enough, people. Do remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Ball Chat Podcast. Follow us at Blue Sky at Ball Chat Podcast. Also at Facebook at Ball Chat. Email us at ballchatpodcast@gmail.com. It was a fun show. Huh? Oh. Big up Rapid Burst. Big up Rapid Burst with a comment. on one of our YouTube videos. Big up Rapid Burst. But BM, I need that to know we're going to support Jamaica till the end, even if we don't like the head coach. Do remember, people, like us, follow us, hit the follow button on YouTube. Bless up on yourself every time.